Welcome to Money Conversations with KJ. KJ is a lifelong entrepreneur who's made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and found his way back again. If you're looking for a sterile how-to, you're in the wrong place. KJ and his guests will walk you through real-life situations told by the people who live them, and they are as messy as they are inspiring. Each episode will offer lessons learned, advice on how to replicate successes and avoid pitfalls, and a new perspective to power your financial literacy. Far from a one-size-fits-all, this podcast can help you build a roadmap to your personal promised land. Milk and honey for some, whiskey and steak for others, and remind you that you're not alone on this journey.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm KJ, your host. I've got a really interesting guest in here today. I'm really thankful that he's able to come out and we're going to share his story. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy it and have a lot of takeaways. He's had quite the life, actually. So everybody, I'd like you to welcome Mr. Mo Owens. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right. So Mo and I have known each other quite a while now. I'm going to say 20.
Easy 20.
20 years. 20 years. Mo is a lifelong entrepreneur. I know that you had JOBs early in your career in sales, but I want to go before that. I want to go back before sales, and you started in the working sector, that you were an athlete to a certain level. So before you were even an athlete, because this program is about teaching people about money, financial literacy. And so we want to talk about some journeys. Share with the folks, how far back can you remember when you started to look at money as a tool and you were using it for specific purposes?
I started around 12 years old. I had asked my mother, can I go see my grandmother? And she said, get a JOB.
Okay. Just so you could go see grandma, you had to get a job.
I had to get a job to get the Greyhound bus to go down to Arkansas.
Wow. So what'd you do?
I started working in the church kitchen, and I was making $1.25 an hour. So working 9 hours a day on the weekends, and I worked 30 days, got paid every 30 days. So
now you just aged yourself making $1.25 an hour, right? That's hilarious. But listen, so the first lesson with money was for you, if you wanted something, you had to go work for it.
Yes. At
12 years old, right? And you and I both know we got kids now and they're adults and stuff. And I didn't make my kids work at 12 years old. I know you didn't make yours work, but that was you. Yeah. What did that do for you is your mindset, your psyche at 12 years old? I want to see grandma. Mom says I got to work. I'm sure you didn't enjoy doing what you wanted to do, but it was a means to a purpose, right? To go see grandma.
Yeah. What happened is I always seen my mother work. She was a single parent. So I always seen my mother go to work 3:30 in the morning, come home at 3:30 in the afternoon, in the evening. And so it was always something that was inhabited. We knew our mother worked. We knew the money was tight. So when she said, get a job, it was just like, okay. So I went and got a job as a dishwasher in the church.
Share with the audience where you grew up.
I grew up in Southside, Chicago, Inglewood, born and raised in Chicago. Grew up in the church. Every day I had to go touch the church, see what they wanted. I had good people around me and good aunties and uncles also.
So I think it's fair to say that everybody knows Southside of Chicago in the last 70 years. It's a tough place. It's a tough place. So I would imagine probably if you think about it, if your mom says, yeah, you want to go see grandma, go get a job. And she probably knew, I mean, you were limited, obviously at 12, you're going to go work. And it gets me thinking like, well, okay, if I tell my son he's got to go to work, see his grandma, it's because I'll keep him out of trouble. He's going to go get a job at the church kitchen. He'll be at church surrounded by the right people. Mm. Do you think that was part of it?
It was part of it, but with her, it was really like, if you want to do something, you got to make the way of your own. And that's what she taught us. Always. It was always that, like, if you want something, go get it. Don't wait for it and go get it. So some of me and my brothers and sisters, we live by that. And actually, I think that was the best thing. That's what started me off to understanding money. When I got my first cash, I think I made $300 for 30 days.
Right. We laugh now.
Yeah.
But okay, so how long did you do that for?
Well, actually, I worked in the church all the way up till I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a church that I was raised up in.
Okay. So obviously going through school, then doing that, after school hours or whatever, making some money. And other than going to visit your grandmother with that money, what were you doing with that money? What were you thinking about with that money?
Well, my second time got paid, I went to open up a bank account because I always wanted a bank account. Because my mother gave me a $50 savings bond when I was 12 years old. So I always thought that, man, when I get about 21, that's going to be worth a lot of money. So I went and got a bank account, put $100 into the account, and didn't know at that time, I'm going to date myself, at that time you can get $5 or $10 out of the machine.
Right.
So got a bank account, tried to save some money because I said, wow, if I can go here, I can go other places. And then I was in scouting, so I started paying for my trips to go to camp trips. Mm. So I really didn't have to go ask my mother, and it made me feel really good that I didn't have to ask her because I knew she was already struggling.
Right. So the mindset then is save for what you want, right? Don't squander your money.
Right.
Because you had these little, I'll call them mini goals, right? First goal was visit grandma. Then you join the scouts. You're like, I want to do these scout trips with everybody. So I got to keep working, but I got to save. I can't just get my check and go, spend it on toys or whatever, right? So let's fast forward. You get through high school. And is this when your athletic career started or sometime in high school probably?
Well, I started learning volleyball at 13 years old in the church. And then I became good, excelled, and went to volleyball clubs, excelled in that, went to school, came out to Vegas and started training. Minnesota, I played up there, but I really worked up there. I really worked and played. And then I moved to Las Vegas.
So, and then that career, you still had to make money while you played volleyball.
Yeah, because volleyball didn't pay you nothing.
Yeah, volleyball didn't pay. And you moved here and you had to support yourself?
Yeah, had to support myself. Got into the car business from a mentor in Minnesota. Came up here, he said, hey, you want to make 10 grand a month selling cars? I said, yeah. So I followed him out here, worked at Las Vegas Honda for the first 4 years. I was making money. I was blowing money.
Yeah. So okay. So here you are as a 12-year-old young kid. Mom says, got to do your own thing. You go out, you get your job. Obviously it's early years here and wages are just low anyway. But then when you get to as a young adult, right. And you start to get the taste of some good money, but you live in Vegas and you wanted to go test the waters as a young adult. Right. Yes. So with that mindset, I mean, you pay your bills. Was there anything going on in your mind at 20, whatever, making money, doing car sales that said, I need to invest or I want to invest? Or was it all sheer, everything you made was about supporting yourself and your lifestyle?
To be honest with you, I never made that much money. So I came here and I had so much fun. It was to support my lifestyle. My lifestyle was, I was single, making a lot of money. I was in Vegas. The world was my oyster, as they say. And I didn't think about saving. I didn't think about saving at all. I was just like, oh, I got money, and I was spending as it came.
You had mentioned earlier, like the first car guy, and you used the word mentor, right? Yeah. So he was your mentor. What kind of things did he teach you besides, obviously he taught you stuff in the car business arena. Did he teach you anything else as a mentor besides that?
Yes. Bob Gaylord, he played with the Rams. Tight end, big guy, 6'7". Bob was about 330 pounds, and he was about, at that time, he was about 57 years old. And he was always go, Mo, that's how you talk, Mo, come here. You got a pretty smile and some pretty eyes. You go see those customers and you smile and you open those eyes up and say, hi, welcome to Southview Chevrolet. How can I do it? And he said, do that every time. And he said, you have a tool. People like you. I couldn't see that. I just thought it was normal. And when I made a first big deal, I was like, okay.
It works.
It worked. So that was it. That was my beginning of understanding my inner talent as far as sales or networking and reaching out to people.
Which is great to recognize that, because I want people to understand, and you and I both know now, not everybody is a salesperson as far as making a living at it, right? Everybody goes down whatever path they're going down. A salesperson, if you're someone out there that has really good people skills, right? If you can make friends with someone in the coffee line, you're a salesperson.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you are afraid to engage with people in the coffee line, don't take up sales, right? I mean, you could learn it. It's definitely a learned craft for sure. I mean, I've spent hours and lots of dollars perfecting my sales craft. So, but sometimes it comes as a natural gift. So for you, it came as a natural gift. But I think back, maybe a kid from Southside Chicago in the 70s. I mean, you were probably a necessity force just out of life to make you be a salesperson, because you had to go get it. Like you said, right? I got to go get it. No one's giving it to me.
Yeah. You always, where I grew up, you had to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you started to hone your craft because you got the mentor in the car business. And I know a few car sales guys, and that craft can definitely sharpen some sales skills.
Car business is a great tool. You know, I even wanted to throw my daughters into the car business, because if they didn't learn nothing, they would learn to understand the word no. Because once you can overcome the word no, you can do anything. No just means the opportunity for somebody to say yes. You didn't say the right word. So, yeah, I love car business. And then again, I kind of hated it, but it gave me the tools of who I am today. And I always put that into my business that I do.
Okay. So think back then. So this is your early mid-20s, because I know you invest now, right? But here we are in our mid-late 50s, that there's a lot of people out there, and I'm sure you talk to your daughters, and I definitely teach my kids that, man, you got to start investing as early as possible. And you and I are kind of late bloomers in the investing world.
Yes.
So what kind of advice would give people out there that, let's say there's listeners out there and they're 20 whatever years old that are thinking, I don't need to worry about my retirement. It's a long ways away. I'm worrying about today. And outside of just paying your living expenses, they start thinking they want to spend their money on I teach wants and needs on the wants, right? I want that nicer car. I want that nicer clothing, kind of thing. So where do you think, at what age you started thinking, I got to make my money work for me?
Well, when I started, I made my first bulk of money around 27, 28.
What do you mean by bulk?
I did a real estate deal. I needed $100,000 to get involved with some guys that had a big deal, and they let me get in, but I need $100,000. I didn't have $100,000, so I went and borrowed from all my friends and family, put the money in, and then I made a lump sum of money off of that deal. But part of what I figured out is that my mentor told me, "What's your exit?" So I started teaching my kids that young. Are you a leader or follower? They go like, I'm a leader. And the other one go like, well, I'm a follower. I said, well, they go hand in hand. You got to be a good leader to have good followers around. You got to be a good follower to have a good leader. So go hands in hand. So you have to start at a young age, which we didn't have. We just had parents say, go work, go get a job. So I started teaching my kids that what is your exit? You know your goal, but what's the exit?
Right. What's the exit strategy?
Right.
What are you going to do here? So the interesting part of the story so far is, an opportunity presented itself, and the obstacle for you to getting that opportunity was a number of cash, right? You needed the $100,000, because I really believe that everybody opportunity knocks, but sometimes you don't know it's knocking, or sometimes you don't answer the door when it's knocking, right? And opportunity will slip right by you. So in your case, in this particular story, opportunity presented itself. Hey, you want part of this deal? Yes, I do. What's it going to take? $100,000. You're like, I got to go find 100. And I'll just use round numbers. Let's just say if you found 10 people with $10,000 each, but that's not that easy.
No,
that's not that easy. I want people to understand that you end up getting the money, obviously. Let's talk to them the lesson of how you collected the 100 and why people gave you the money, because obviously you built up some sort of credibility with enough people to accumulate that 100. How did that happen? Well, how can other people replicate that?
Well, one is to have trust. So a lot of people see that you're successful, or they see you striving, or they always say, wow, how did you do that? Or how did you be this? So they want to be a part of it. A lot of people, when they see someone or something exciting and that's moving forward, they want to be a part of it, but they don't know how to be a part of it. So some people, like there's a lot of people I actually knocked on the door, relatives that said no, but there was a lot of people that I didn't even think they was going to give me money, but I asked and they gave me more.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like, but the opportunity is you got to ask.
Did you, so you knew the investment was 100, and I'm sure there was a speculative the return was probably going to be. So did you give up a piece when you were asking for money? You give me $X, I'm giving you $X back. So you gave everybody, it was more of an investment rather than a loan.
Right. I took the money in, and I took 50% of my profit, and I split that among everybody.
Oh, that's very generous.
Right. Because without them giving me that money, I wouldn't even have the 50% of the profit.
Great lesson.
Yeah.
So what Mo did was he leveraged relationships. Now, in investing, we always have to leverage. Sometimes it's the bank, sometimes it's relationships. There's many different ways to leverage to be able to make a deal happen. And you leveraged relationships, right? The offer was huge if you were giving up 50% of where you're going to come back. But if you look at it, I have 50% of something I never had before because these people all, believed in me in the deal that was structured. Obviously, you sold it to them verbally and what was going on. So that's a really good lesson. And I think the two lessons are going to be this. Keep your eye out, keep your ears open for opportunities, right? Because some people, an opportunity could have came to them, and the minute that person would have said, yeah, it's 100,000, and you didn't have 100, you would be like, oh, I'm out, I don't have it.
Right.
Boom. And that's a 30-second conversation versus someone like yourself who from age 12 knew you had to go get your own. There wasn't nobody going to do it for you. And so being from the street, so to speak, you're like, well, I got an opportunity here. You mean all I got to do is find 100 and I can make 200?
Right.
Or whatever that number was. Like, all right. Like the worst thing that people say to you, which some did, was no. You're like, and you already know, you overcame that word.
I hear
that
it
word,
every day.
Yeah, that word don't mean nothing.
Right.
To me, no means not now, not yet.
Right.
That's all no means.
Yeah.
So awesome, great lesson. So that was your first experience with investing. That must have bit the bug hard.
Hard.
Yeah. What'd you do next?
Well, after I spent all the money, because I was enjoying it.
Okay, so that's a good thing. So you go through all this, you make the score, and then you got this lump sum of whatever the money is, and you just spent it?
I invested in something else.
Okay.
And it didn't go as great as the first deal. And then here's the lesson to come. Okay, it was a failure, but failure is learning.
Exactly.
So that's when the alarm went off in my head, like saying, okay, next time you take all your lessons from the success and the failure, put it together, it decreases your option of failing. So I failed at the next investment. I put all my money in because I tried to double up.
Right.
The greed.
Yep.
So you take it and I failed at it. Like, okay. And then by that time, it's in my blood to invest, to make money, to see opportunities and stuff. So.
Well, I mean, you're obviously no stranger at hard work because being in car sales, that's hard work. I mean, there's a lot of hours there, and there's crappy weather days. Like you don't even want to be out there. There's people you're dealing with, and dealing with people can be very difficult sometimes. I get it. So you worked hard for your money, got a deal going. The second one went a little sour on you, did make it, but that didn't discourage you.
No.
You're like, You're like, I got to go find the next one.
It was looking for that next high.
Well, because you've learned probably trading time for money is definitely not going to get you wealthy. Right. So you've got to go. But you swing for the fences, as they like to say, right? You're not a base hitter kind of guy. You're like, I'm swinging for the fences. I need that home run.
Yeah, because I was young, so I felt invincible, So, but the next opportunity came along. I plotted out really and say, okay, this is my risk. This is what it is. Don't throw this much in there. This is where. Then I start bringing other people in to lessen my risk,
right,
of the money. So you get smarter.
Okay. So along the way of making this money, there are a lot of people out there who have early lessons of saving X percent of money, no matter what happens. Did you do that at all? Did you park money in certain, maybe it was a 401k or an index fund or a Roth or an IRA somewhere? Did you park money anywhere?
I parked money with good people that it was making me money with.
Oh, so you didn't park in traditional places?
No, I did private holdings that was making me more money. By networking, I hooked up with good people. And got into the real estate as far as like buying property and stuff, and we was making money on that. So I started parking my money into those situations. And then because I was an entrepreneur, so I didn't have a Roth or anything like that, played a little stock or whatever like that. But my money was all done privately, was made privately from real estate, business deals, all that.
Right. Yeah. Which is a direction you can go. But I think for the people that are out there and you're a W-2 job person, that's high risk. That's high risk. I mean, you're better off, especially if you're in your early 20s, get out there, and any financial advisor is going to tell you that you need to start parking money conservatively. So you've got compounding the rule of 72 in your favor, which is time, right? That you should park X percentage, right, in some sort of a compound growing account, which would be like an IRA, a Roth, or an index fund, or some mutual funds, that kind of stuff. And then say, okay, I'm doing at least 8 or 10% in that with everything that I do. And then, hey, listen, some people will take an extra chunk of money. Look, I want to risk this because this is a riskier investment, but the rewards are higher. So anytime the higher the risk, the higher the reward. And you kind of learned both lessons.
Yes. As I got older, I started doing those things. But when I was younger, an opportunity was coming to me. It was like the world was open to me. So I just started taking those. Actually, there wasn't risk. It was just like you learn how to manipulate your money and leverage your money at that time. So to me, it was like my money was in the bank, like I would put it into land,
right,
on holding. And I'm making money off of the land. I hold it for 2 years with partners and stuff and cash out. So to me, that was like that. I didn't get sophisticated till I got in my 30s, my late 30s. Then I started learning about this, the IRS, all that.
Right.
Because I didn't know it growing up. I wasn't taught that. I was taught how to move this way, network, and do this here. So I eased my way into this. I got older. My mentors start teaching me different things like, oh, okay, this is a safe way. This is how you do this. Put some money over here, put 20% over there. You start getting educated. You start going back to school.
Well, you bring up an interesting fact. So your mom told you to go get a job. Did your mom teach you anything about money?
Oh, yeah.
What'd she teach you?
You don't have, you don't eat.
That's a good one.
But no, she taught me, she said, a dollar goes a long way. A penny is a dollar. It depends what you do with it. She said, I can give you this dollar. You can go out and buy 100 pieces of wine candy. But at the end of the day, when you get through eating, what do you have left? Nothing. So, sometimes put something away for a rainy day. Because my mother always did. She didn't make that much, but she always put something away in case some emergency happened. Mm-hmm. Like say, she didn't have all that. My mother worked 45 years from being a janitor till she put herself through school to be a nurse at the same place for 45 years. Mm-hmm.
So I know you got kids. I know your youngest, little Mo, is 15?
15.
Right. But your girls are young adult ladies now. Yes. What money lessons have you taught them?
Well, the oldest one is probably the tightest one. She works for the education in Arizona. So she puts money away all the time. My baby daughter is definitely entrepreneur. She just started her business at 23. I told her to do something with her time, and she's a photographer. And she created a horticulture company in New York where she goes and put little farm systems on top of her roofs in New York and doing very well with it.
Nice. So your teacher, obviously she's going down the path of entrepreneurship, which is what you've been most of your life. But did they come to you and ask you, Dad, I've got this money. What should I do with it?
Yes. Well, I helped them out. A couple of them buying different stocks. And then also in my company, what I did to help them get started, I gave them a certain amount of stock at a different age. So when they graduate from high school, they can spend that stock. When they graduated from college, you get your bachelor, you got this, and then the rest is for them to put away with. So, and they've been doing it. So, now they understand the stock business. They understand how the money moves in the stock by me doing that. Because now my daughter goes, she even said, "Dad, the stock going down." So they understand that way. And then the other one, Ashley, would take a little bit of time to get like me. I think she's exactly like me.
Okay.
But because Marissa's in that system where she's going to have retirement and all that tender and all that.
Yep.
She's definitely learning because on that.
What about little Mo? What are you teaching him about money? He's 15. This is vitally an age where we know our kids watch us even when we don't really realize it. They are. How's he handling money right now?
Mo wants to be a CEO right away.
Well, we know how that path. Everybody wants that.
Right. Mo puts money away. He opened up his bank account last year. He has a savings account. He's doing real good with that because he said he's definitely moving away. So he wants to have money to save up. So he's doing good because he always asks me about different things about investment. He said, "Dad, if I do this, can we make money off of this with his friends and stuff?" So
right.
Yeah. So it'll bring him along, but it's kind of hard with kids nowadays with the social media.
It can, but I think they have such an advantage because of social media compared to where you and I, in our day, heck, technology was having a beeper for crying out loud, right? You want to talk to somebody, you got to go find a payphone, put some quarters in it.
Exactly.
So I think kids today have such a huge advantage with the internet, and there's so many kids making so much money from YouTube, podcasting, just it's unbelievable, and they're making crazy money. Multi-millions of dollars. It's unbelievable, and I hope that they're listening or finding themselves the right financial advisors, because as I see it, a lot of these kids that are making a lot of money on the internet, I think they're parallel to athletes. An athlete's career is short relatively, right? A good athlete could go 10 or 12 years, an okay athlete 4 or 5, right? Maybe you get a couple of years and you can make some really good money, but we already know the stories behind that, right?
It's a lot of stories.
They finish and then they end up like, where's all my money? Well, you lived the lifestyle of someone that's making twice what you made. It's gone. Yeah. And so I hope that these kids, and it's one of the reasons I put this podcast out, will listen like, hey, put some of that money away to work in what I like to call a cast iron piggy bank that you ain't going to touch until you're 55 or 60. Let it compound. And if things go south right now in the next few years, you're going to live high in the hog, something go bad. You're like, hey, I put enough away and it's compounding. I'm going to be okay, rather than it's all gone, right? So you're a believer in as far as savings as short term for a specific reason of why you're saving, not just to save.
Well, I've been saving for 15 years now because I don't have a 401. I don't have that.
You don't have a structured retirement.
So my money is making money.
Right.
But I've been putting away money every time I make money off of something and put it away because that's my retirement. Mm-hmm. And did pretty good. And then also, like I say, I have my stocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Mo, guys like you and me, we ain't gonna retire. We like playing the game too much. I mean, we play plenty of golf as it is right now, right? Yeah. I mean, how much more are we really going to play? But I'm just saying, a lot of people, they strive for that, right? Like, I want to retire.
Right.
And I just think guys like you and me, I mean, I personally don't even like the word. I like the word financial freedom. I like the word financially independent. And there are two different meanings to those things, right? Being financially independent means your money makes enough money to support your lifestyle. And you have a nice lifestyle. You like to live a nice lifestyle, as do I. And so we got to have a lot of money working in order to do that. But we enjoy the game. I think we enjoy the game too much.
Kevin?
No?
I'm done.
No. You just need a little break. You just need a little break. We've talked about this. You just need a little break. So I think a good lesson today then is, depending where your life started, you started Southside Chicago in the 70s. That's a tough time. And you came through it because I would imagine you have so many stories you can't even think of friends that didn't make it out, so to speak. Ooh. Right? Whether you grew up in Southside Chicago or, Oklahoma or wherever, it's all up to you and what you want to go after. Your parents are definitely going to be a role model and not always a positive one. I find that kids like what my parents are doing is what I'm going to do. But I think that first lesson at 12 for you, you wanted something and your mom's like, get a job, right? I think in today's world, if somebody told a 12-year-old to get a job, they'd be like, you better call services. This parent's trying to get their 12-year-old to get a job, right? But listen, you stayed out of trouble. You went out there and you made a career. You found a mentor. And I think mentors are vitally important. I've had a few myself in my career. And for you guys that are out there, if you don't have one, talk to them about the importance of having one. Mo, where would you be where you are now without a mentor?
No. There's a flat out no. I had my mentor taught me this. He said, I'll never give you money. I'll never loan you money. I'll show you how to make it, and I'll show you how to leverage. And by him doing that, even when I got into jams, it taught me something. So there's mentors. There's someone that's always around that would help you. A mentor doesn't have to be somebody you can just call all the time. It could be your mom, your dad, or maybe a neighbor or something and say, you can go up to someone and ask them about something. When it comes to money, ask them. If you don't want to ask your parents, go ask them. And then next thing you know, you'll start developing a relationship. And then you'll just start ciphering off their knowledge. And knowledge is so powerful. I think that's one of the things that kind of excel me to do things that I want to do. Like Kiki, my wife, she goes, I never see what you're talking about. And for a long time, because my mind goes, she said, you will say, I'm going to do this. And next thing I know, you're doing a company and doing this here. And she said, I just didn't see it. I can't see it. So your vision is different from other people's vision, but you always need somebody to help you put it in line.
You know, you just, it's funny because as you tell me that story, it just clicked in my mind. That story is that book that Robert Kiyosaki wrote darn near 20 years ago called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Mm-hmm. He learned what he learned about money, not from his dad, but from his friend's dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so definitely out there. And again, it doesn't have to be your friend's dad. I mean, you never know. Again, opportunities knocking. You could just meet someone that you can build a friendship with and find out more about, and they could become your mentor at some level, right? For many different levels of mentoring. But I highly agree because, you went to school. Structured learning is totally different.
Yeah.
Mentors are going to give you life advice, experienced life advice that I think just collapses time, right? We could all learn these lessons over time and go down that win-lose road, and just keep learning from our losses, our failures. But anytime that you can get a mentor and collapse time and get you to learn those things, you're going to be much better off for it.
Right.
Well, that's awesome. So you told me you're tired. You ready to retire?
Not ready to retire, ready to enjoy life.
Come on. You played golf this morning, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I heard it wasn't a very good game. That's why you're upset right now. I get it. I've been there. That's cool.
Thanks for putting me on blast.
Don't worry, Mo. They won't golf with you. Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, thanks for coming out today. It's a very enlightening story where people can understand, even a kid from Southside Chicago, when his mom told him to get a job at 12, that he learned, you got to go out, you got to get after it. No one's going to give it to you. There are no freebies in life for most people. There's a few people out there exception of the rules, obviously, but no, great story. I think a lot of kids out there, and again, I say kids, these are people in their 20s and 30s, but good lessons learned. So again, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
So guys, if you like what you heard, you got some valuable lessons out of it, do me a favor, subscribe to my podcast. I'm going to have these stories coming out every week, right? And if you're on YouTube, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. I've got new people coming all the time. So every Wednesday, there'll be a new podcast coming out. So you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that episode. Really enjoyed making all these episodes for you. Remember, we're just having conversations with people's journey with money and the things they did right with it, the things that did wrong with it, and how did they really come about getting their mindset with money. So every episode's different. We all have a good takeaway from them. So do me a favor, hit the like button, smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel, because every episode that I do is going to be different, as all our journeys are different. So you guys take care, and we'll talk to you next week.